So last week we blocked out a bed, just got the basic shapes that we need. I see in the homework there's a couple of different styles of bed, and we'll try and cover some of those styles later as we're modelling the headboard and that, just to help a couple of people out who've gone in a different direction, which is absolutely fine to go in another direction. That's what we encourage. So before we go any further, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here before it gets too messy. I can delete this bottom indicator now because it's quite obvious which is the top and which is the bottom. And if I look down my list here, I'll see I've got a lot of cubes and same names, so I should probably kind of rename these so it's going to make it easier to work with. So I'll select the first one, which is the base, and I can rename it base. To rename it, I can either double click here and type in base, or there is another method. So let me select the bottom, the next one, which is bottom posts. A quicker way is just to press the F2 key and then rename it. So bottom posts. Let's select the third one. That's the top post. So F2 top posts. That's the footboard. So F2 footboard. Next one will be the headboard. So F2 headboard. And this one is a mattress. So base, bottom post, footboard, headboard, mattress, top post. And this empty is the reference image. It's hidden at the moment. If I unhide it, you'll see it there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to work on this headboard and bring some of this arch shape and detail into it. Okay. So select the headboard. If we look at the headboard, we can see we've got a modifier on it, and that modifier is a solidify to give it that thickness. Okay, so we're actually only working with a plane. If I was to unhide that modifier, you'll see it's just a plane, which is fine. Let's tab into edit mode, and for the moment let's do X-ray so we can kind of see that we've got this plane. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some edge loops to create this arch, or start to create it. So Control R, and I'm going to need a few edge loops. I'm thinking what I'm trying to do is keep one of the edge loops that is in the center of the object. So this one here is center. If I go for extra edge loops, the center is empty. I kind of want the arch to peak at the center, so I'm going to need an edge loop at the center. And that should probably be enough, I think. So I'm going to click there and click again to drop them. Alright, I'm going to come back into a vertex select, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to box select these outer ones and shift box select these ones. I'm going to make sure my proportional editing is on. Okay, and just going to grab them down slightly on the Z or the Z. So G, Z. Okay, shift select. I didn't shift these next two, so I'm starting to create the apex of this arch. So then I can disregard the next two. GZ. And then I can just grab these outers. G, Z or Z. I think I probably want to bring these two up a little bit. So G, Z or Z upwards. Give it that kind of rounder shape. Alright, you can see it's very angular. but we'll deal with that in a minute. Right, so let me turn back on these modifier views so we can see we got this thickness to it. Alright, now to smooth these out, I'm going to use a subdivision surface modifier. So let me add that subdivision surface, and you can see how it's starting to smooth. However, you can see it's getting very kind of knife edge at the top. And the reason for this is the order of the modifiers. Okay, so what I've done is I've solidified the original plane and then subdivided, because the subdivision is at the bottom. Okay, if I was to swap the order of these, we'll see it looks a bit different, and it's easy to swap the orders. You can move them up and down with these up and down arrows. So watching this here, watch what happens when I swap the order. Okay, we got this much nicer, smoother kind of shape. Right, if I swap that back again, so you can see the difference. So the order of the modifier is quite important, and if you're having problems, do check your modifier orders. Alright, so we're getting this kind of rounder shape. I probably want to increase both my render and my viewport to about 3 to get it smoother. You see how smooth that's looking now. Alright, now it's coming down too far, so what I can do is I can add an edge loop here, Control R, and bring that close to the other edge loop. Okay, so you see now how it's the difference between this side and this side, bringing it more into the edge of the bed. So let me do this on the other side. Control R, and just slide that across. Alright, we're still getting this kind of downturn. Maybe you want it straight, so that's easy to do. Let's box select this side, shift box select the other side, and let's scale it on the x-axis outwards. SX. Let me turn off proportional editing. That wasn't working too well, was it, with that? So SX. Not much difference. Alright. Now we've got these wider. We can select this edge and G on the X, just to square up those ends. We can do the same here. GX. Okay, let's go back into object mode for a minute. Let's deselect. Let's turn off the X-ray. So now you can see we've got these nicer squarer ends, which is closer to what I was looking for. Alright, so that's a very simple way to create the arch. However, we're not quite finished yet. If I'm looking at this, the top of the arch is actually over the level of these posts. Mine is under. Because I'm not copying this exactly, let me kind of go to a front view here. Let's grab it on the Z, and I'm just going to, wrong one, GZ. Just going to bring it up to around the level of the top. Somewhere around there. The bottom's looking fine. It was more or less in line with the footboard. Well, that's looking fine. Okay, so once I'm happy with this shape, turn this X-ray off. Once I'm happy with this shape, I've got this lovely smooth arch, which is kind of very similar to this. I can apply the modifiers, so let me apply those. Just gonna hit apply in order. So now when I edit this, you can see I've got some nice kind of geometry around. Alright, so that is the basic shape of the headboard, but then when we look at the headboard, we've got this kind of inset that follows a shape, and that's what we'll do next.